Hey guys, what's up? It's Ghost Queen. I feel like it's ages since I did a live inside. I feel so strange. I'm going to be looking at my phone for chat now and again. I think my mod Lori is going to be coming in to mod for me. So hi, how are you? It's Tuesday. Kind of rainy here in New Orleans. Kind of shitty, kind of gray. Not very fun right now. So I've been doing little projects in the apartment, in the house, just like organizing and making better use of space and going through crap and stuff like that. Not that exciting, a little boring, but sometimes the stuff just has to be done. So, I'm going to talk about a couple of things tonight. I am going to talk about a case that I'm very interested in, and I think it's a very sort of thought-provoking thing, but I'm going to talk about that next. The first thing I'm going to talk about, because I've been thinking about this a little bit, from time to time I have people that ask about cleansing, okay, and about how to cleanse their home, how to cleanse themselves. It seems to be one of the biggest topics that's brought up on a regular basis. How do I cleanse? How do I cleanse from negative energy in my home, around myself, my person? And this is an ongoing topic, and people are always asking about it. So, I mean, I think it was just yesterday, I had a girlfriend of mine who, she's a little nervous that possibly she could have an attachment, that sort of thing. So, this is always something that people are talking about. Now, all right, when it comes to cleansing energetically, spiritually, magically, that whole entire realm of thought, let's say, um, there's a lot of very basic, common things that people just don't seem to think about. And the first thing you should do if you're interested in cleansing your home, let's say, is to clean it and to get rid of a lot of crap. Okay? Now, I was one of the worst culprits, and I still can be, although I've gotten better over the years when it comes to keeping crap. Okay? Um, I'm streaming. Thanks. I don't want any of that right now. Thank you. Um, yeah. Wayne just came in and interrupted me, and there goes my train of thought. Um, Crap that you bring into your home, okay? You know, all right, for instance, the other day I was on Bourbon Street, this was a couple weeks ago, and I picked up a whole bunch of stuff that this antique seller was getting rid of for free, okay? He had an antique shop on Bourbon Street. No, I take it back, not Bourbon Street, it was on Decatur. And he was getting rid of a bunch of stuff. And I took a fair amount of it, not a whole shop full, but there was a good box full of stuff that I took. And what do you do when you get something home from an antique shop, let's say? Well, one of the things you should do is to cleanse those items right away. And I'll tell you why. Because especially if they're old, that stuff can carry a lot of energy attached to it, okay? I remember I once got this really huge old wooden desk. Somebody gave it to me for free. This was when I was living in New England. It was enormous, very old, very heavy, big wooden desk. And like, it carried so much energy. I always felt it when I was near the desk. And I finally decided I had to cleanse it because it just carried a lot of energy. Now, I'm sort of one of those people that I don't necessarily believe in good and bad energy the way that most people sort of perceive it. I think there's just energy. I think it can be dangerous to put those types of label on it, good and bad. That's very dualistic. Is that a word, or am I making that up? Dualistic thinking. I like it though. I think I'm going to use it. It's polarized thinking, good and bad, and I think you can get into dangerous territories when you think that black and white, because the world isn't black and white, people. It's full of color, and there are a lot of in-betweens. It's not always just something is good or something is bad. There's a million other points in between. So I don't really like to think on those terms, but I do think you should think of it this way. Would you invite like 100 people into your home to just hang out with you all the time? Probably not. And when you're bringing items into your home, even if they're new, because even if they're new, they've gone through a factory, they've gone through a process of being sold and bought and whatnot. Think of how many hands that have probably touched that item. So this doesn't just go for antiques or older items or something you might pick up at a yard sale. This goes for new items as well. Anything that you bring into your home is going to energetically carry some sort of remnant of everyone it's come into contact with. Now, I know there are going to be some people that don't believe that, but they're probably not the people that would be watching my stream. So you have to look at it that way. Objects do have an energetic fingerprint upon them of all the living people that they've come into contact with, perhaps even dead. I thought I just saw a spirit over there in the corner, but I don't want to be distracted. So anyway, anything that comes into your home is going to have an energetic fingerprint, footprint, aura, however you want to think about it. So it's not a bad idea to cleanse these items before they come into your home. If you don't want to cleanse everything individually, then definitely at least cleanse the home, every once in a while at least. But before you get into that sort of thing, the first thing you should be doing is cleaning your home. That means clean it, get rid of the crap, don't have clutter, don't have too many things to begin with, okay? Because that does create clutter, and when you have that kind of clutter, it just creates a lot of chaos and energetic spaces that I believe do attract negativity, okay? And chaotic energy. And you probably don't want that kind of energy in your home. It doesn't make for a very peaceful environment, okay? So I have a rule when it comes to purging. I like to purge at least once a year. If you move, it's always a great time to purge. But I like to purge at least one time a year. And I have a rule, and that is if you haven't used it in a year and it doesn't have really deep sentimental value, toss it. Either throw it out or donate it to charity, whatever you want to do, but get rid of it, okay? Don't have too much stuff in general. We're very materialistic in this modern age, and we love our stuff, and I get it, but you only need so much. And if you get something new to replace something, make sure you get rid of the thing you're replacing. Don't store it, don't keep it for something else. You're probably not going to need it. So have a good energy flow within your home. You can look into feng shui if you're into that sort of thing to see where are good spaces to sort of place everything as far as furniture and that sort of thing, mirrors, beds, all that stuff. But keep the home clean. That means dust, wash the floors, clean the moldings, keep the bathroom clean and the appliances and the sink and the tub and the toilet and the kitchen sink. And, you have to keep your house clean if you want a happy, clean, energetically comfortable space. Hey, Kim, how are you? Thanks for coming in. That means washing windows as well. You know how dirty windows can get? Well, that's literally your view onto the outside world. You want that to be clean, okay? Hey, John, how are you? Thanks for coming in. Oh, thank y'all. Thank y'all. Yes, I did dye the pink again a little bit. You stay safe as well. Oh my God, I just saw a mosquito, you little shit. So, anyway, clean. Keep your windows clean. Wash your floors. I mean, even, like I say, the moldings, the walls, radiators, if you have a fan and those blades can get the dust on them, whether that's a ceiling fan, whether it's a floor fan or a table fan, clean those blades. Um, they actually sell like a special thing, a special kind of duster, so you can clean the blades of like a ceiling fan. I have one. Um, Clean. I started thinking about this the other day because I picked up some Florida water at my local grocery store, which I thought was awesome. Like, that's one of the cool things about living in New Orleans is you can just go to the corner grocery and they sell Florida water. Do you know how hard I was searching for that in Massachusetts? And I actually have a couple recipes to make my own Florida water, but who has the time to always do that? Sometimes you just want to buy it. So I did pick up a bottle of Florida water the other day, and this can be another good thing to clean with. You can put this in your water that you're going to clean your floors with, your walls, etc. Some people really like to cleanse with Florida water. There's other things you can use as well. I might go into that a little bit more in depth in another video because I'm going to talk about blue balls and that sort of thing, but that's for another video. So you don't have to put something necessarily in your water to cleanse, but some people like to. But there's a lot of things that are really good to balance out negativity. Lemons, salt, those are two really big ones. Rice. You can put bowls of those things in your home. Put a lemon in your home. I've heard that a good way to sort of tell if the energy is maybe a little funky in your home is just to leave a lemon out and see what happens to it. After a week, does it look black? It might be time to cleanse. You can put bowls of rice around your home. Water, keep a bowl of water somewhere. I always make sure my altar has a bowl of water on it. And salt is a great way as well. You can keep bowls of salt out. You can cleanse yourself with salt water. So yeah, cleansing, but like I say, one of the most basic common things is really like clean your home. Before you even start thinking about spiritual shit, just clean your house, your apartment, your home, wherever you live. Clean it and don't have too much clutter. We all know those people, that have just like shit everywhere, and like you walk in and you start feeling like high anxiety and you're kind of stressed out because it's like, there's like stuff everywhere. Like with me, I'll start being like, oh my God, I don't even know what to look at. There's too much to look at here. But like you can also, it feels heavy. It weighs you down. All that shit. And it really does weigh you down. That's the point. It's energetically heavy. There's just too much. Okay? So, you need to become a little bit more zen and get rid of crap. You don't need it all. And then, and as I say, and then really you have to think about just cleanliness. Uh, we all know I'm not Christian and I don't pray to Jehovah, but let's go back to a very common phrase we all grow up with: cleanliness is next to godliness. And I do believe that that's true. Maybe not the God, maybe not everyone has the same God, but nonetheless, I think it's a good adage to live by. You should keep your space clean for various reasons. And especially right now, when we're in the middle of a pandemic, everybody's worried about germs and catching shit. It's what better time than to maybe brush up on your housekeeping skills. I think vinegar can be a great thing to clean with, just white vinegar and water. That was something we used to use a lot when I worked on boats. Very good cleaning formula is just vinegar and water. But if you want to add a little spiritual oomph to it, a little kick, you could add some Florida water to your cleansing water as well. Add a little salt. But cleaning your home is very key. Okay, and as I say, that includes all the spaces, all the nooks and crannies, and even washing the windows. You want your home to be clean. You want nice air, nice energy, all of it. So clean. I mean, cleansing has the word clean in it. That's what you want to do, is clean. So then you can start worrying about like saging and whatnot. I gotta tell you, I'm not a huge sage person. I don't sage like on the regular. Every once in a while, I might sage. I know it's a big thing. Everybody talks about saging. Maybe once in a great while I'll sage the place, but I don't worry about that all that much. And if I'm really concerned about something in my space that's like a spiritual thing and I think it might be negative, I'd be more apt to turn to frankincense and myrrh to cleanse my home with smoke that way. Okay? Um, so, yeah. And then if you want to cleanse yourself, I'm a big proponent of salt baths. You can just grab handfuls of salt, whether that's big chunky salt like the kind you make ice cream with, or whether it's just your table salt, your Morton's. Put handfuls of salt in the bath, get in the bath, meditate, really focus on drawing all the dark energy out of your body into the water. You know, spend some time doing that. You can have particular chants if you feel comfortable doing that, or you can just visualize in your mind the black energy leaving your body and going into the water, all negativity leaving your body and going into the water. And then afterward, you should shower. So you're rinsing off the residual and then let that water drain out. Another thing you can do too is to just sit in a chair and have your feet soak in a bucket of salt water and do the same thing. Visualize the negative energy, the black energy leaving your body down through the soles of your feet and into the water. Same thing, rinse afterwards. And obviously I'm sort of speeding up the whole process to just tell it quickly for a YouTube video, but I'll put some links in the description after my live where you can check out maybe a little bit more detailed explanation of these sorts of things. But these are all good things to do. And then of course after all that you should be grounding on the regular. No problem, John. Thanks for popping in. Have a great night, or it might be day there. Have a great week. Thanks for coming in. Anyway, so you should be grounding on the regular as well. So that means get outside, put your feet in the earth, get some sun on your skin, visualize the white light coming up from the center of the earth and circulating throughout your body. Okay? These are all, I've talked about all these things a million times before, but these are all good ways to sort of keep yourself cleansed, centered, balanced, etc., and to have a nice, happy home environment. So, if you have specific questions about anything else having to do with all that that I haven't mentioned, and you can always hit me up. I'm always happy to talk about it. So what else? There's obviously more extreme measures you can go to if you're having like real big problems with something, you know, some sort of paranormal or supernatural or spiritual attack. Then that kind of goes into other areas. These things I'm talking about are just kind of everyday sort of common sense practices that you should be practicing. So that's that. Moving along. So, you know, every once in a while I check out these videos that kind of like catch my interest, and I don't watch the true crime community. It seems like that community's a little bit of a shit show, a little bit of a mess, and it was hard enough for me to just kind of learn about the drama community and Boyd and who everybody was and all the connections and blah blah blah. Like everything I seem to hear about with people in the true crime community, it seems like it's a shit show over there. Like there's so much fucking drama and everybody seems really like nasty and I was just like, you know what, I think I'm going to steer clear of that community. And by no means am I going to turn into a true crime person. But I do see things occasionally, like these cases that sort of interest me. And usually there's a reason. If they kind of hook me and I start thinking about them, there's usually a reason. So I did watch something the other day. Now this isn't something that just happened. It's an older case. I don't know what year it was, and I don't even know if I wrote that down, but I'm going to talk about it a little bit. And then, again, I will put some links in the description after the show. Actually, I have a link on my phone. I can look up right now what year this happened. Hold on one second. Okay, so this happened in 2013, so going back several years. Now let me set the scene. Now, for any of you out there that are parents, this might interest you and might get you to sort of think, like, my God, what would I do if that were me? Because that's kind of where I put myself when I was listening to this case and this story. It's a crazy, wild thing. So, 2013, John and Beth Brooks were a married couple that were parents, and they were asleep in their bed. This happened in Washington State in the United States. And they had been sleeping, and they woke up to what they said was a dark figure standing over them while they were asleep in their bed. And they both kind of woke up startled, and the dark figure shot them each 3 times in the head, or the head area. Okay? Both of them lived, which is just shocking in itself. Who gets shot 3 times in the head and lives? But the couple, both parents lived. And not only did they live, but they weren't immediately unconscious. So the father, the dad, John, the husband, called 911. And apparently he gave his address and he said, somebody broke in and we've all been shot. And the 911 caller, said, like, well, who shot you? And he said, I don't know. I woke up and we've all been shot. And she said, well, who's been shot? And he said, my wife and I've got blood all over everywhere, and I've been shot in the head. Now, again, it's just like, I mean, I just can't even believe someone can be shot in the head and, like, not pass out, first of all. But then to live, I mean, the whole story is crazy. This is all just crazy stuff. And it really just, like, it just left me sort of like with my jaw hanging open. Now, as it turns out, as I say, each person was shot 3 times. But as it turns out, the individual that shot them was their 14-year-old son, Nathan. Okay? And how did they know this? Well, they called 911 to report that they had been shot. And now they had apparently another daughter as well, who, maybe even more than one, I'm not sure, but they had at least one daughter who had come into the room with them and was in there with them while they're injured. And they told the 911 operator they were, like, hiding in the house because they assumed this intruder had broken in and shot them. I don't know what their thinking was, but I'm sure they weren't really thinking too clear. Anyway, but when the police came, the son actually answered the door. The 14-year-old Nathan answered the door in his underpants. He was not wearing anything but underpants. He answered the door and let the police in. And as the police started to look around the house, they found that there were cameras inside of the house. Now, that's probably not very usual to begin with, but the kids actually didn't know that there were cameras set up. So the police were able to review the camera footage and actually saw the 14-year-old son walking around with a gun in his hands in his underwear, wearing nothing but his underwear. Strange stuff, okay? So the parents were obviously taken by ambulance to the hospital, and the son was immediately arrested at the house, even before the parents were taken out with the ambulance and everything. So, Wayne, I don't know if Wayne can hear me. So, the father said, well, I guess the cop, one of the cops, went up to the father and said, do you have any idea what happened? And, the father said to the cop, like, do you think it was Nathan? And the cop was like, well, I don't know. Do you think it was Nathan? And the dad said, I think so. But according to the dad, afterward, he denied that conversation took place, even though the police said that it did. So it got into some fishy stuff. I'm going to get into that probably a little bit more tomorrow night because it's a little bit of a long story. But just that in itself, imagine...
You need something?
No. imagine as a parent being shot by your kid. I mean, it's like a huge, big thing to even think about, okay? So the father did have fragments of a bullet go into his brain, um, but it seems that he really didn't have any permanent, long lasting damage. The mother, I guess, was shot in the cheekbone, in the ear, and one of her fingers, probably because she put her hand up to defend herself after the first shot. Um, and she ended up losing hearing in that ear, and then she's also legally blind now. But aside from that, they seem like they're fine. They've done interviews and stuff, and they don't seem like they're mentally, affected or anything. So, like I say, just that in itself, that these people were shot 3 times each and managed to survive and be relatively okay, is kind of crazy in itself, I think. Um, but then that the son did it kind of also makes it a little crazier. And I mean, it's not like that sort of thing doesn't ever happen. But anyway, so the father, when he was being carried out on the stretcher to go to the ambulance, he saw that the son was in handcuffs, and he says, like, that sort of confused him. He didn't really understand it, but people aren't so sure. So, yeah. When the 14-year-old Nathan was brought to the station and questioned by police officers, initially he tried to tell a story that he had been sleeping in bed when he heard the shots and he heard shouting, and he got up and found his parents injured that way. And then the police actually said to him, "Hey, Nathan, we actually have you on video walking around the house with a gun, so maybe not." You want to tell the truth now? And he did end up confessing. And then he sort of got like real kind of, you know, I don't know, detached and cold. And I did see the interview, and, he was just saying how he did intend to kill them when he shot them. And I guess eventually he did break down and start crying and whatnot, but the police didn't really buy that. They didn't think it was really sincere. And so, as I say, he was arrested, he was charged, and he received 15 and a half years in a juvenile maximum security lockup for this crime. Because his parents didn't die, he got a lot lesser sentence than he would have if he had actually murdered them. But let's not forget, that was his intention. So, I guess what I found most thought-provoking about this, now, they did do a documentary about this story on the BBC in the UK, and I tried to get a hold of it to watch it, and I didn't have much luck. I guess the BBC has some sort of like iPlayer or something that you can watch the documentary on, but only if you're in the UK. It doesn't work if you're in the States. So I haven't successfully watched that documentary yet, although I would like to. I might keep poking around and see if I can find somewhere to watch it. Ooh, my crown is slipping. I hate when it does that. So I think it would be a really cool documentary to check out. But one of the things that I found most fascinating about this story, hey, M. Rose, how are you? Is the fact that the parents forgave the son. Okay? They've done many interviews since this since this crime occurred, because they didn't die, attempted murder. They've done a lot of interviews and everything, and they've talked a lot about it, about how they've forgiven their son, and they go to visit him in prison and whatnot. And there are parents sort of like all over the world that are shocked by this and are sort of like, he tried to shoot you in the head. He did shoot you in the head 3 times, each of you. He tried to kill you. Like, how can you just forgive him and love him? And it was this whole discussion that really sort of piqued my interest and made me think and wonder and sort of try to empathize and put myself in their shoes and think about how I would feel. And I think any parent would want to try to do that. It's crazy stuff. And the mother sort of attributes her forgiveness to the fact that Since being imprisoned, he's been diagnosed with depression. Okay? So she says because he has depression, and he claims it's very severe depression, not your everyday depression like the rest of us get. It's very severe. That because he's been diagnosed with this, she can just forgive him. She just, it wasn't him doing it, it was the depression shooting her, I guess. Now, I can't say I necessarily understand that train of thought. However, that I can see forgiving my child. I can, just as a parent, like, I can see that me being that woman, me forgiving my child and still loving them and wanting them in my life. And I mean, that parent child bond and connection, it can't be broken easily. And to my older daughters, Rosalie and Emily, do not come and shoot me. I'm sure they'll be teasing me about this, but seriously, I can forgive a lot. Probably not shooting, but you never know. Maybe I could. I love and adore my kids. Maybe I could just forgive them even if they shot me. Maybe sometimes I deserve it. Who knows? I'm not perfect. But anyway, I did think it was like, it's a very thought provoking case. And I do say I commend the parents for forgiving him if they truly have. Now, I am going to talk about this case again tomorrow night because there's a little bit more to it that I'm going to get into tomorrow. I'm not one of those streamers that likes to stream for like hours and hours and hours at a time. I'm like usually a 1 hour hit girl. So I think that's enough for tonight. But I do want you to think about it. And, if you want to like go and take a look at it, as I say, it was out of Washington State. And in 2013, it was John and Beth Brooks were the parents. Nathan Brooks is the son. Nathan is spelled with an O, Nathon, a little bit of an unusual spelling. And if you search on YouTube, you can find a few things about it here and there. And I think it's interesting stuff. But tomorrow night, we're going to talk a little bit about the motive. Now, he does say that the motive for the crime, according to him, is that essentially he just kind of felt like his parents were a pain in the ass, and, how much better it might be if they just weren't around to boss him around anymore. That seems a little too pat to me. All kids feel that way. But they don't go around shooting their parents in the head. I mean, come on. And I don't also think that depression drives you to do that either. I'm sorry. I think depression would cause you to be very less aggressive, more apt to just stay in bed and not get out. Yes, I do think depression can make you irritable and cranky, and maybe you might bark at somebody a little bit more, but I don't see you getting up that whatever it would take to shoot somebody in the head, especially somebody that you're related to. I just don't see it. I don't think depression is the explanation. Maybe there's a misdiagnosis there. I'll say that's a possibility, but I don't think depression is enough to explain it. So, yeah, I guess he had just gotten grounded because he got a detention at school. I don't know why he got a detention at school. I have to do a little bit more research. I don't know if I can find that out or not. But he had received a detention at school. His father had grounded him, said he wasn't allowed to participate in an upcoming basketball tournament. And I believe he was also grounded like off all the electronics, so he couldn't play any of his video games and shit like that. And, that does piss kids off. Okay, but probably not enough to shoot you in the head. I mean, come on. It's severe. It's extreme. How and why did this happen? So, yeah, interesting case. As I say, I will put some links in the description after this gets posted to YouTube, and I will remind you with Streamlabs when I'm live streaming, it does take almost 24 hours before the stream will actually post to my videos on YouTube. So be patient. But if you're interested, you can come back tomorrow and take a look and check out some of the links. And then I am going to talk about this a little bit more tomorrow night because there's some more interesting stuff I want to share. So, yeah, that's it, guys. I know there's been a little bit of drama going on, per usual, but not going to get into it. I've said what I wanted to say, and if you do watch my YouTube channel on a computer, you can check out my discussion tab because I did a little post earlier today dealing with a little bit of drama. People making videos about me, and then certain others who still can't stop talking about me in their live streams. The fascination will never end, I guess. But I get it, honey. I get it. Anyway, thanks for joining me tonight, guys. Stay safe. My eldest daughter called me yesterday and was yelling at me to wear my mask, wear my mask. Even if you're outside, wear the mask. I'm like, oh my God. I'm getting schooled by my kid. I'm like, I can't wear it when I'm outside. I can't breathe in that thing. She's like, wear it. As she's on the beach, probably not wearing hers. But anyway, stay safe, stay healthy, stay happy. Be kind, be generous, be loving, be forgiving, be compassionate, be empathetic. Tell your loved ones everything you want to say because you never know which day is your last day or theirs. And sometimes you just have to put on the crown and remind them who they're dealing with. And be good, but not too good. Have a little fun in your life. And don't let the demons bite. Make love, not war. And until next time, I bid you adieu. I'll probably be streaming tomorrow night about the same time. If you're interested, come and join me. And until then,